Hello, astrology learners. Thank you for joining Lisa Astro Channel. This channel teaches basic concepts of Vedic astrology at a slow learning pace. I want to make sure to take my time and provide a complete understanding of all of the basic concepts so you can gain a stronger understanding. Today is a very exciting discussion. I am going to be explaining the significance of Rahu and Ketu. It is very important to understand because the placements of Rahu and Ketu play a huge role in our chart. So let's get started. Rahu and Ketu are included with all the other planets, but they are mathematical points in space referred to as shadow planets. Rahu is known as the North Node, and Ketu is known as the South Node. First, I'm going to share some history on Rahu and Ketu. According to the ancient Puranic texts of the time before creation, origin of Rahu and Ketu takes us to this mythological story. After a long and terrible war, the gods and demons cooperated by churning the galactic material called the Milk Ocean. While churning, a pot of Amrit, elixir of immortality, emerged from the mantle of the ocean. This Amrit, a nectar of immortality, was intended for the gods alone, while Mohini, the female avatar of Lord Vishnu, took the Amrit and started to distribute it to the gods. There was a demon named Svarabhanu who disguised himself among the gods. The sun and the moon, however, noticed and informed Mohini. But by that time, Svarabhanu had already drank the Amrit. Vishnu then, with his divine weapon, cut the demon's head off. As the demon was not immortal, he could not die, but the head and rest of the body was separated. The head of the serpent demon was known to be Rahu, while the rest of the body and serpent tail was called Ketu. They both were given an important position in astrology. They affect the solar and lunar eclipse. By eclipsing the sun and moon twice a year, they can create confusion and extract revenge. I am now going to provide a visual so you can gain an understanding of the solar and lunar eclipse better. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, which hides the view of the sun from a small part of the Earth. Within our solar system, the Earth orbits the sun and the moon orbits the Earth. It takes approximately 365 days for the Earth to orbit the sun, and approximately 28 days for the moon to orbit the Earth. These two orbital paths are independent of one another. Twice a year, the paths intersect, creating the solar and lunar eclipses. For a short time, the sun and moon is overtaken by the darkness of one of the nodes. The point where the moon is coming towards the northern section is the north node called Rahu. The point where the moon is going south is the south node Ketu. The eclipse occurs when the sun and the moon are at one of these nodes. This gives a picture of the sun and the moon getting swallowed by the snake. The solar and lunar eclipse indicates the instability in things, causes sudden change, and the fear and the chaos that comes with it. Those 2 points are where the solar and lunar eclipse takes place. During the new moon, when it is plus or minus 18 degrees from Rahu and Ketu, the solar eclipse occurs. The lunar eclipse occurs at the full moon at plus or minus 11 degrees from the nodal position. A solar eclipse and lunar eclipse always occurs in pairs. A solar eclipse takes place approximately 2 weeks before lunar eclipse. And just for your knowledge, on April 20th, 2023, this week, a solar eclipse will occur. On May 5th to 6th, a lunar eclipse will occur. And looking into the future, just for your awareness, another solar eclipse occurs on October 14th, and a lunar eclipse will occur on October 28th to 29th. Now let's get more into Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is the ascending node, and Ketu is the descending node. That is why Rahu represents the acceleration of things getting more amplified, more extroverted, going forward, more in the future. While Ketu represents going deeper, more introspective. Ketu is considered spiritual, psychological, or mystical, represents past life. Rahu is a malefic planet. However, a favorable Rahu gives the power and authority to rise in the ranks through any means possible, also bestows the native with sudden wealth. Rahu represents materialism, fear, dissatisfaction, and obsession. Rahu symbolizes the connection of the East and West, the interest to foreigners and foreign things. Rahu longs for freedom. Rahu is the reason for technological advancements of the internet and the advancement of the digital media age. All of these innovations and advancements are because of Rahu. If Rahu is strong in a birth chart, then it gives fame, money, and success. Rahu is the planet of pleasure, and it makes the native attracted to worldly pleasures. It reaches maturity at the age of 42. Rahu is considered as a planet of worldly desires. Then Ketu can be related to the spirituality. It represents the spiritual process of evolution and refinement of materialism to spirituality. Ketu is a worldly malefic, but spiritually benefic. Ketu signifies spiritualism, wisdom, fantasy, invincibility, and psychic abilities. Ketu generally will mature at the age of 48, when the soul starts to turn towards salvation. Ketu is responsible for the spirituality. There is a deeper meaning to Ketu's spirituality, and it is considered the most spiritual planet of all. It is considered the planet of enlightenment and liberation, causes sorrow and loss, and yet at the same time turns the individual towards God. In other words, it causes material loss in order to force a more spiritual outlook on the person. Rahu and Ketu are enemies to Sun, Moon, and Mars. The nodes Rahu and Ketu bring together Earth, body, Sun, soul, and Moon, mind, making them among the most influential in astrology. In the planetary cabinet, Rahu is the advancing army. Rahu is only the head with no body. He has a big appetite with no ability to digest. He is responsible for obsessions and desires that push us to our limits. Wherever Rahu is in a chart, there is inexperience, and we need to focus on these areas in our life. That is the part of our life purpose. The main focus of karma and desire are seen along the Rahu-Ketu axis. Ketu is the occupying army, governs the things that we have already learned very well, what we have mastered in our past lives. Wherever Ketu sits in a birth chart, we are withdrawn and detached from these areas of our life. Ketu can take us to ultimate moksha or liberation. Rahu and Ketu are always opposite each other in the sky and in the birth chart. They are 180 degrees apart, always 7 houses apart in a birth chart, and the main focus of karma and desire can be seen along this axis. So now you can understand the impact that Rahu and Ketu have in our birth charts. In an individual birth chart or transit in the sky, the Rahu-Ketu axis tells us what we absolutely must do so we may be free from worldly desire. The nodal axis travels slowly, changing zodiac signs every year and a half. It takes Rahu and Ketu 18 years to travel through all 12 zodiac signs. But wherever they are, Rahu and Ketu create confusion. Rahu's domain is the confusion of ignorance, and Ketu's territory is the confusion of certainty. Ketu has no head, so no direction. Sometimes it's easy to get comfortable in these areas we have mastered from Ketu, but our purpose is to move towards Rahu. Rahu and Ketu must be looked at and observed and diagnosed in a birth chart as one entity. In Vedic astrology, Rahu and Ketu are considered one entity because they influence each other. The energies work together. And in order for any progress for Rahu or Ketu, there has to be a balance of these two energies. The study and understanding of Vedic astrology can guide us to a perfect balance and uplift our souls in this lifetime. That concludes our discussion for today. Rahu and Ketu have such deep meanings, and there is a lot involved with them. You will need to review these significances over and over to get the complete understanding of this very important axis within the birth chart. I hope you have enjoyed today's session and you are enlightened by the explanation and the history of Rahu and Ketu. I know all of you are eager to start interpreting your own birth charts, but first we must cover these basic fundamental concepts before we can jump into analyzing the birth chart. All the topics I have been going over interconnect with one another within the birth chart, and we cannot analyze the chart properly until we have a strong understanding of all of what these concepts mean. It is a sequential process, and it takes patience. Next week, we're going to be diving deeper within the birth chart and going over more house significances. So you definitely don't want to miss that. If you have found value in today's session, please hit that like button. And then you'll be sharing the video and helping it spread farther so more and more individuals can gain the knowledge of this channel and what it offers. Please share this channel with anyone you know who is curious about astrology and would like to learn more. And please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload the next video. I want to end by sharing this photo with you of a very beautiful double rainbow. I saw this after a rainstorm, and I just wanted to share its beauty with you. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm here to uplift all of you and help you all be the best versions of yourself. So God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.